Today's video is sponsored by Saley. Guess what? I'm sitting on a secret. Hi, Ugly. It's me, Bussy Fox, and welcome back to Hot or Rat. Today we'll be reviewing episode 5 of RuPaul's Drag Race Season 17, where our queens were challenged to do sketch comedy and the return of RDR Live. And the runway category was Tickled Pink, so we'll be going queen by queen to break all that down, plus discussing how, in a surprise twist, because y'all wanted a twist, eh? The Badonkadunk Tank has Badonkadunked Michelle one final time. But first, we've got some online drama to cover between Joella, the premier Slasian diva of LA, who's literally an opulent icon known for her looks, and Naysha Lopez. So you'll remember that last week we said goodbye to Joella when she failed to dunk Michelle in the tank. And when she left the show, her exit line was something to the effect of, well, at least I didn't die a local girl. They're seemingly referencing the Selena STD season 15 acting challenge thing, but Naysha either didn't get that or wasn't happy with what she said regardless, and had some choice words for Miss Joella at the latest Roscoe's viewing party featuring Hormona and Lucky.
Some of the most talented drag queens are the ones that are not on Drag Race. I'm gonna tell you that right now. So for you to sit there and leave and say, oh, I want that a local girl, stop. Joella, I love you, but I hate that you said that. It was the dumbest thing to come out of your mouth, and you've said some stupid shit.
And when this video began making its rounds on Twitter, Joella responded, no. What's upsetting is that it's clearly a Selena reference, and I have been that local girl working for $50 to $75 and sometimes for free multiple times a day. Just because I'm on TV doesn't erase what I've been through. And I've been the local girls at shows Naysha is in too. Anyway, and now, in the order they hit the runway, first up, it's Onya Nurve, who's giving us a little pink Power Rangers meets almost motocross kind of fantasy in her runway today. And she tells us in confessionals this garment is apparently made of a bunch of deconstructed sneakers. And I think this is a really cool direction to take the pink runway, using an unconventional material like this. And honestly, this look is close for me, but just missed the mark by a little bit. I think Michelle was right about one thing. I think there needed to be hair or a bigger headpiece to proportionize the rest of the look. But I also just wanted more of this outfit in general. Like around her waist, I think there should have been more coverage on her hips or legs in some fashion. But as is, it's just kind of a lot of hip and a lot of tights, and a lot of tights where we can see the undergarments underneath the tights. And so I would say the idea here is hot, but the execution as presented on this runway tonight is gonna be a rat. But over in the challenge, get your Oscars ready because we've got a shining star in this cast. In the challenge, she chooses the role of host, which goes uncontested, which also comes with a secondary role in one of the sketches. And I was kind of shocked to see no other queen fight her for this role because there are so many big personalities in this cast. But I guess the other queens seemingly were spooked by what happened with last year's RDR Live, and we even have a confessional from Kori talking about how Mirage completely bombed the hosting role. Onya, though, does amazing with every single aspect of what she did in this challenge. She was confident, energetic, and peppy in the hosting segment, and in the sketch where she's basically playing like the supreme Neanderthal, if you will. She's got a good authoritative energy where she's in the sketch trying to decide if she should allow the Homo sapiens to move in next to her Neanderthalian peoples. This performance was hot, but maybe it shouldn't be a surprise Onya slayed this challenge because she apparently has the ability to be in two places at once. Because in this week's first look preview of the episode posted to YouTube every week, fans on X and Reddit noticed something very peculiar. The queens are assigning roles for this week's challenge, and Onya Nurve is there on the couch, but then next to Onya is a floating white triangle. But it's not just any white triangle, it appears to be one of the top corners of Onya's notebook that she's flapping around, which suggests that the editors cut two completely different scenes together to make it seem like Onya was looking in a particular direction while they were discussing her role than she actually was. But as for inconsequential as this particular edit is, I think it really opens up the viewer's eyes into what the Drag Race editors might really be doing for the rest of the season. And I think this happening does reopen the door to the question of, was RuPaul ever actually in the workroom with the Drag Race Down Under queens? That we may never know. But as to what happened to this specific footage, well, this video was removed from YouTube not long after fans started pointing out this editing issue, and the actual scene on the real episode seems to have fixed the issue because that white triangle is gone and Onya is facing the same direction she was in that preview video. And you know, RuPaul said don't blame it on the edit, but I think this makes a pretty strong case for the girls to blame some things on the edit. And like the great prophet Miley Cyrus once said, everybody makes mistakes. even me. Like, for example, the last time I traveled to Mexico and got charged an arm and a leg by my cell carrier just to use my data abroad. Thankfully, Saley, the sponsor of today's video, is here to save the day. Saley is a new eSIM service app offering data plans in over 180 countries in 8 regions. For example, when I traveled to Mexico, my cell provider charged me $35 for a 5GB data plan that only lasted 10 days. But Saley has eSIM data plans for Mexico starting at just a fraction of that cost that last 30 days. And since Saley's a prepaid service, you'll never get hit with roaming fees or overage charges like you would with your carrier. To get started, use my link to download the Saley app to your mobile device. Then before you travel, select your destination and choose your plan to complete the eSIM installation. And make sure to enter promo code BussyQueen to get my exclusive 15% discount. Then, bam, you're done. Your plan will automatically activate when you arrive at your destination. So what are you waiting for? Download the Saley app using my link and make sure to enter promo code BussyQueen to get a 15% exclusive discount on your plan. Thanks, Saley, for sponsoring today's video. And now, next up, come on, Barbie, let's go party. It's Kori King, who on the runway is giving us a blonde, pink Barbie fantasy, literally, because she is referencing a frilly pink girly Barbie look. And really my only thoughts about this look were that I think it's cute, and it looks like a fun little dress to wear for a gig at a club. Cause like, she looks good, but this outfit doesn't really say much about her drag, or her point of view in her art. It's just literally a pink cocktail dress. And you know, maybe if we hadn't seen her in a very similar silhouette for like 2 weeks in a row now with that yellow sparkly dress, I wouldn't be feeling this type of way. But we have, and I am, so I'm gonna give this look a rat. And over in the challenge, she is playing the Neanderthal named Ugg in a pair duo with Arrietty. I really don't think Kori is going to be winning any Oscars for this performance. I will say, I think she had a confidence in this character and delivered her lines in a funny manner. And I really liked the line where she was talking about how Homo sapiens are doing this and that that's different from the way Neanderthals do it, where she says, and all this stuff about pronouns, well, has worked fine since the Ice Age. And I would give what she did here a very safe hot. And next up, are you ready? It's Arrietty, who on the runway is giving us a little prolapse demon nightmare for our nerves. And this is a super sick outfit. The construction of this is absolutely incredible. She looks like some kind of crazy pink demon supervillain. And I like how thematically there are all these spikes and points in the look to add to the severity. And she has just, again, nailed every single detail of her aesthetic, from the hair with those pink lines going up the beehive to the lips that she's painted that also have spikes similar to what's going on in her outfit. No one does it like Arrietty. This look is hot. What she may need to work on a little bit though are her acting skills. In the challenge, she plays the character of Bug in the Neanderthal sketch next to Kori King. And firstly, I'll say I was surprised she chose or settled for this role, because it essentially puts her in the same spot she was in last week's acting challenge, where she was being directly compared to Jules Sparkles. What she did though wasn't bad. She took that Neanderthal cave woman personality to a 10 and kept it there, which was her main critique from Michelle for not being dynamic enough. But I don't think anybody could watch this and say that she wasn't trying or really giving it her all, because she had it with the facial expressions, the noises she was making, and the way she was holding herself like a caveman the entire time. Like, she was in character. But I will also point out the role she ends up with here just wasn't written quite as funny as Kori's, who had more of the jokes in their duo. But I definitely don't think this performance was bad, and I certainly don't think it was a bottom-worthy performance, and I'm gonna give it a safe hot. But more on that later. And next up, meow, it's Lana, who on the runway is giving us Little Bo Peep meets, I don't know, Hollywood starlet with her headscarf about to drive away in her red convertible Corvette through the hills of Hollywood. That's what I got. And yo, this look is absolutely gorgeous. I love the silhouette. I love all the different shades of pink and how she played with the different pieces of this outfit, like from that smooth scarf to the quilted collar to the ruffles and pleats and the rest of this look. And it was nice to see this versatility presented from her. I'm gonna give this look a hot. And over in RDR Live, she plays the character of Brooke, a busty, blonde, bimbo, Homo sapien who's moved in next to the Neanderthals and is the reason that the Neanderthals are complaining to Onya. And this character is definitely meant to be a scene-stealing role, and I think she did a great job playing into that. She walks onto the set and she is bouncing and jiggling and wiggling her best assets while delivering this very airy monologue with a ditzy kind of, you know, blonde airhead personality, stereotypically speaking. And this role for Lana felt unexpected, I think because she comes off so shy in other aspects of her personality, but she really impressed me here and did steal the scene, and really, honestly, was the only one that I remembered from this specific scene when I was looking back on the episode later. So I'm gonna give Lana a big blonde hot. And next up, paint a picture. It'll last longer. It's Hormona Lisa, who on the runway is giving us pink, frilly, lacy, girly aesthetic nailed down to a fucking cross. And honestly, she looks really pretty and clearly feels very pretty, more importantly. And I am gonna give this like a hot, but I do feel like I may be getting a little tired of seeing her in these trumpet skirt gowns. And because we know she can do pretty so well, I think it'd be fun to see her step outside of that comfort zone just once. At least. And over in the challenge, Hormona is one of the queens in this episode who has an issue with the role she receives. What she wanted was to play Gert, who is a character based off of one of the Golden Girls, but she ultimately gives that to Lydia when she bats her eyelashes and asks very nicely. And so Hormona ends up with the role of Ellen Ticklehorn, one of the hosts of the Women We Like podcast, alongside Sam's character, Ruth. And let me firstly say, this sketch as a whole was my least favorite of the sketches tonight. And that's not necessarily because of the queens in these roles, but I think more so for me personally because of the way the scene was written. It is kind of intended just to be an extended joke on Beaver, which is like funny, you know, a couple of times, but for the entire sketch to have nowhere else to go but to continue to labor over Beaver joke after Beaver joke, I got a little bored. But I do think Hormona did pretty good in this role regardless. The only thing I think she was missing was a more unique take on this character, because it was kind of just Hormona Lisa playing Hormona Lisa. It was fine, so I'm gonna give this a hot. And next up, look to the sky. It's Sam Starr. When the runway says she's giving us elevated, expensive taste and is known for being a fabulous showgirl, so she's giving us fabulous showgirl. And waist up, this look is absolutely fabulous showgirl. It's kind of reminding me a lot of her opulence look she created for the design challenge. And like the design challenge look, this one is gobsmacked with tons of opulent little beadings and rhinestones and details. And feathers coming out of like every orifice. But waist down, I was not really understanding what she was trying to accomplish there, because it all got very plain. I'm also not loving the back shot of this when she turns around. It's too many like parts and pieces, but overall this is a cute look. I'm gonna give it a safe. In the challenge, Sam's playing the role of Ruth Leslie Fistenberg, who is like secretly Hormona Lisa's partner, but they're playing these platonic friends on the podcast. Anyways, Sam approaches this role, I think, trying to achieve a butch lesbian presentation, but the voice she gives the character is kind of odd. Like, it was like, Beaver? I hardly know her. And like, honestly, I don't know a single lesbian who talks like that, so I don't know where she was getting that from. But I think the bigger issue, more so than the voice choice, was how stiff she played the character. Because in every shot, she has like shoulders back, eyes forward, and just not really reacting well to her scene partners. So I'm gonna give what Sam did here a rat. And next up, she's trying to make piggies happen. It's Jules Sparkles. Anyways, on the runway, she is giving us gorgeous, 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 gorgeous fashions. She apparently worked with a designer to repurpose an old pageant gown into what we're seeing on the stage today. It is kind of giving me that My Fair Lady vibe, but with like a Latina goddess flair. I absolutely love those flared pants and that little vest piece, the hat with the ribbon on it. I mean, everything about this is so well done. And it's such an unexpected silhouette and style for this type of fabric, which is what makes it, I think, work so well. So I'm gonna give this a and over in the challenge, she's playing the character of Connie Lingus, who joins Hormona and Sam on their What Women Like podcast. And her character, Connie, is a famed beaverologist who then shares her beaver with the hosts and then shares other beaver facts about like how they're monogamous. Despite Jules' material being whatever, though, I thought her character was really smart in that she chooses to play it with an Australian accent, which weirdly enough worked really well and didn't feel too put on. It felt like she really became a different character. She was speaking differently, holding herself differently. She was acting. It was acting. She did great in this. I'm gonna give her a And next up, everybody's jealous. It's Crystal Envy, who on the runway comes out with a giant pink balloon covering her face, which is intended to look like bubblegum, which she pops, and then she's covered in pink and white slime all down her outfit. And I think the concept of what she did here was really fun, but I do think this might have been a look that sounded better in idea and looked better on paper than it does here in execution. I think there's something kind of awkward about the overlap of that asymmetrical shoulder and the bodice, and then probably because of the material and the thickness of the silicone, she kind of lost some shape in the body part of this, and it kind of just is reading big slimy pink square accessorized with some pink slimy balls. Something sticky this way comes. This looks a rot. And in the challenge, she's playing the role of one of the news anchors on QNN News next to Lexi Love. And basically these two are going back and forth, hurling little insults at each other disguised as news headlines. Which was a great dynamic. I loved this sketch. And I do think the quality of this sketch was overall better than all the other ones because the writing was funnier and the pacing was good. But I do think Crystal and Lexi brought a good, subtle, bitchy, but still maintaining some news host composure type of vibe to their roles. However, because these two are essentially playing the same role, I think it's very easy to compare them and see that Lexi Love had just like a couple of hairs, I think, above what Crystal was bringing to the role. So I'm gonna give them both hot while also giving Lexi one more flame than Crystal because I think she had just a bit more edge in her delivery. And next up is Lexi Love, who on the runway is giving us a little après ski party socialite kind of vibe. You know, she's hanging out at the ski lodge, she's lounging by the fire, she's sipping 3 or 4 cocktails, and she is hitting on every man in that room. She looks flashy, she looks rich, and I really love how this look is so draggy, but also cool and fashiony. I also love the subtle detail of the leopard being part of or underneath the tights on her arms and legs. But the one thing I've got to comment on are those shoes. They cheapen the look, and I just don't think they work at all. And they're also not even pink, so I don't know why she's wearing them. But I won't hold her skis in the fire too long over this one. I'm still gonna give this look a hot. And I know I already hotted her challenge in Crystal's section because they essentially played the same role. But I do want to highlight and compliment Lexi's extra energy that she brought into this role because she was so on. And Lexi was one of the few that I definitely remembered from this challenge. And I also want to quickly remind you that you can help support the channel by joining my Patreon. And in exchange for a small financial contribution to the Bussy Queen channel to keep this bus running, you get tons of exclusive benefits like early access to my YouTube videos and access to exclusive content like reactions to every episode of Drag Race that I review. Just click the link below to join. See you there. And next up, beep beep, it's Suzie Toot, who on the runway says she is giving us a 1920 Ziegfeld Follies perspective on a 17th century Harlequin. It's such a crazy thing to say in a confessional. Like, to string that series of words together, you really have to be a specific type of person, and that specific type of person is Suzie Toot. What I really appreciate are the cultural references and history education that she brought to this runway, and I've got to compliment her tenacity in bringing to life a unique vision of drag. This look is larger than life and perfect for TV. And that all was good, but what I didn't love about this was the like pink lacy doily hat situation with that wig. And the general shape of the outfit was a little off to me. There was something about the midsection, it just kind of looked, there was just not a lot of shape built into this, and I think that was a mistake. And so, yes, I had fun with it, but no, I don't think it was sickening fashion. And so I'm gonna give this like a rot. And in the challenge, Miss Suzie Toot plays the role of Rhonda, who is, allegedly, RuPaul's old babysitter, and she is the scene-stealing character who comes onto QNN News to give her tell-all about how all the catchphrases that you hear RuPaul saying actually originated from her. And she's chain smoking, she's got cigarettes stuffed in her hair, and is talking with this voice and characterization that is kind of reminiscent of Estelle from Friends, Joey's agent. And honestly, this character took me a minute to warm up to because it was so over the top and so abrasive in this scene. But as the scene progressed, it became clear how talented Suzie truly is. She really like hit her stride in this role like halfway through and just had me laughing through the rest of it. There were so many queens tonight that were good but just played themselves, and Suzie, that wasn't Suzie, that was Rhonda. And what Rhonda did was hot. And next up, it's Lydia Kollins, who comes out in the runway as a giant pink disco stick. And this look tonight is kind of in the same category as Suzie Toot to me, because I really appreciate the vision of what she was doing here and the nerve of dressing as what she's dressed as. And I can genuinely say I had a lot of fun with this pink fuzzy bell-end. There was just something about that final execution and presentation that I think is a little lacking. Just walking down the runway holding the coat, which is kind of weird. And I'm thinking, oh, there's gonna be like a tearaway or a reveal, but that never happened. And I didn't get that. And we do find out later there is a dance costume underneath the coat. And so that confused me even more as to why she didn't just take it off. And again, I will say I absolutely loved this idea and had fun with the look, but I just wanted her to execute on aesthetic and just make it a little more fierce glamazon drag than big furry pink amorphous blob. So I'm gonna give this a soft rot. And in the challenge, she plays the character of Gert, who is an older lady character that has been in a car wreck with her daughter, played by Acacia. And this character is supposed to be based on one of the Golden Girls characters named Sophia, who apparently is sarcastic and sassy. And this, I'll remind you, is a role she fought Hormona for. But she seemingly picks this character based on thinking she can execute on the visual aesthetic of the look, which is nice, but doesn't really make a lot of sense considering this is an acting challenge and not a visual aesthetic challenge. Anyways, she does, though, as she promises, execute on this visual aesthetic of the old lady fantasy. But the acting was very flat. And I really wouldn't even say she was acting so much as she was just in the room saying the lines she was supposed to say from memory. It was very stiff, it was very flat, and unfortunately, just not funny. So I'm gonna give this a and lastly, in case you forgot, it's Acacia Forgot. Who on the runway says she is referencing Designing Women meets CEO Punk Rock Bitch. Can I be honest with y'all for 1 second? If your name is Acacia Forgot, turn off this video right now. This is the ugliest thing I think I have ever seen on the Drag Race runway. Or one of them in the wig. It looks like Bobo the Clown meets Ronald McDonald. Like, it looks wet, it looks gross. I don't like anything about that hair. And I hate that she has accessorized this look with a black pump and those pink lightning bolt earrings. But yeah, the shape of the top and the skirt and the way the skirt is like maybe sewn to look like half of it's been pulled up one leg and the front part of that jacket is just like sticking out in the torso area. I don't know what is going on. This look is a rat. But over in the challenge, Miss Acacia gives one of the best performances of the evening. And I don't think enough people are talking about that. She plays this daughter of Gert role with this promiscuous proclivity for the doctor in the room, who's our guest judge for the episode, Paul Downs. And she's basically taking every opportunity she can in this character to flirt with or say something sexual to the doctor when he's asking innocent questions to her mother. And she delivers her lines with this sweet country southern accent. And it was just like the little ways that she said some of her lines, like, I've been mistaken for Pamela Anderson. They really made me smile and appreciate the details of what she was doing. Acacia honestly stole this scene, and I'm gonna give her a And concerning placements, in the top this week, we see Suzie Toot, Hormona Lisa, and Onya Nurve, which is kind of close, I think, to where it should have been. I will say Hormona there surprised me. I didn't necessarily remember her performance when it came time to that part of the episode, and I definitely would have swapped her out for Acacia here in this top 3. And I also want to say, I do think Lexi and Lana would have been good alternate call-outs for top placements as well. The win, though, goes to Suzie Toot. She absolutely stole her scene and stole the show. And was truly acting. In the bottom this week are Lydia, Arrietty, and Sam Star. And I do think Lydia and Sam definitely deserve to be here and should have been our bottom 2 lip syncing for their lives, but the judges do instead call Sam out as safe. But landing in the bottom did not sit well with Arrietty, and in Untucked, we see her going off on the girls. And when asked who she thought was worse than her in the challenge tonight, she calls out Kori, saying she was a little better than her, and then Crystal, saying she was dry. And then finally she points at Hormona and says, I don't even know why you're in the top. And this was a pretty heated Untucked because Arrietty going off was after the girls were all having this big crazy discussion about Suzie Toot's outfit. We hear Lana, Arrietty, and Jules all make some type of comment about Suzie's clown look, to which Suzie responds by reminding everyone that she's in the top for a reason and that Ross, Michelle, and RuPaul all loved her look. And she goes on to say what other drag queens think of her drag does not matter to her. And while Suzie can feel the type of way she wants to feel about her look and the other girls can feel the type of way that they feel about their looks and her look, I can confidently say, as somebody who's reviewed a lot of Drag Race, that runways don't really matter for placements. And so these discussions about whose look is good or whose look is bad, yada yada, in Untucked in relation to the placements of the episode don't really make a lot of sense to me. And what I've seen more often than not is that if somebody does really well in a challenge and they have a just okay look, then we're probably only going to hear positive praise in the final edit of the episode. Reason being, of course, the editors don't want to make a winner look like less of a winner. And also, let's be real, if runways actually mattered, then Joella would have won the entire season with last week's look. Anyways, let's move on to the lip sync and twist. So our bottom 2, Arrietty and Lydia B. Kollins lip sync to Boogie Wonderland, which was, so far, I think one of the better lip syncs of the season. And honestly, I thought they both did good and had some fun moments. Like, I really didn't expect Lydia to perform like she did, honestly, with how shy and reserved she comes across. But I did like her lip sync, and I was genuinely gooped and gagged by what Arrietty was doing more so than Lydia. And I was not only gooped, but also gagged and choked and chained when RuPaul called Lydia B. Kollins as safe from this lip sync. And apparently some of the other cast was as well, because you can hear their audible reactions when RuPaul tells Lydia she's safe. Which brings us to our twist, because y'all wanted a twist, eh? And Arrietty gets the chance to choose a lever to pull to find out if she can dunk Michelle Visage into the Badonkadunk Tank. And what do you know? She pulls the lucky lever, number 1, sending Michelle to her watery doom. Which means the lucky numbers of the Badonkadunk Tank leavers were 1 and 7, or 17 when put together. Now that's the gag of the season. And I would accept this at face value, but honestly, I smell a rig. Because let's talk business and sponsorships for just 1 second. So the thing is, sponsors like Vegas here for RuPaul's Drag Race are paying to have their brands showcased in a specific way for a set amount of times or dates. And sponsors, at least in my experience, want to know exactly what they're getting in exchange for the money they're giving. And in the business world where financials are involved, there's usually not a lot left up to chance. Meaning, I don't think it's likely that Las Vegas signed a sponsorship deal with Drag Race for how many ever episodes it takes to dunk Michelle twice. Instead, I would guess what happened was this sponsorship deal between Vegas and Drag Race was negotiated for a specific number of episodes. And I think both the sponsor and the production crew of Drag Race knew that whatever levers were pulled on episodes 2 and 5 would be the levers that activated the dunk tank. And as far as making sure that both levers were 1 and 7, I think they simply could have told the queens in a memo what levers to pull. But that's just a theory. A drag theory. With the twist coming to a close, though, this does mean the rest of the competition is gonna have a little more of an edge to it, because the girls don't have any more safety net. But I would love to know what y'all are thinking about the episode this season, and of course, the rigonomics with the twist. So let me know down in the comments below. Lastly, let's talk hottest hots. On the runway, I'm gonna give it to Arrietty, and in the challenge, Suzie Toot. I also asked my patrons to vote on their hottest hots, and this week they've chosen Jewel Sparkles on the runway and Suzie Toot in the challenge. And I want to give another special thanks to Saley, the sponsor of today's video. Saley is a new eSIM service app providing data plans in over 180 countries, and when you download Saley using my link and enter promo code BussyQueen, you'll get a 15% exclusive discount on your plan. And finally, I want to give an extra special shout out to Nicole Dainzer, who's just joined my Patreon at the hot tier, and Ashton, Felicia, Lara, Matthew Burns, Nicole Minst, Music and Makeup Records, Sexy Winnie the Blue, and Will and Tana, who are all supporting me at my Bussy Queen Collector tier at patreon.com. See y'all later. Love ya. Bye.